Lunaverse, Episode 23, Elements of Insanity, by Emeral Bookwise. Lunaverse by Rainbow Double Dash. Chapter 11, What a Wonderful Wonder. Carrot Top was glad to be back in Ponyville again. She was just as glad that Trixie, Tearly, and Raindrops were all back from their own escapade as well. They certainly had no less of an amazing tale to tell of all the ordeals they went through in Noten, which Trixie, of course, proceeded to do with all her usual flair of bravado. Well, that is, save a few instances when Tearly and Raindrops would interject to remind her it had been a team effort. Still, the farmer couldn't help but be a tad jealous. Her friends all clearly had grown up in surprising ways from the experience. Tearly had reconnected with old friends, and even Trixie's ever-present ego seemed tempered by a newfound humility, while Raindrops... Okay, maybe Raindrops hadn't changed all that much. Joe Tearly did keep teasing her about some pony named Cut and Dry. This made Carrot Top feel as if her own feeble attempts to relay her own unexpected adventure seemed empty and dull by comparison. She didn't feel like she had grown or changed at all. Still just a simple mare with simple dreams. Heck, she only ever gotten involved at all purely by accident. Of course, her terrible ability to actually tell a coherent or interesting story didn't help, as she kept finding herself having to double back to fill in details she forgot to mention. Plus, there were still a lot of things he had completely useless on, having never been actually able to question Twilight about how everything had started in the first place. As a result, it all just came out like a jumbled mess, and even listening to herself, Carrot Top wasn't sure she believed it. She really wished Lyra was here now, but he persisted and apparently had to rush off to Camelot while they had all been away. Something about sympathy or such. As an expert on myths and legends, surely her bardic friend could have helped figure out what kind of creature Lemonhearts had been. Instead, the farmer found herself tripping over her own words, just trying to describe the strange madmare, only further adding to the confusion. It probably didn't matter, though. After all, what were the odds anything so crazy could ever happen again? Lucy looked through the observation window into the padded room and its lone occupant. The blue-maned, yellow-coated unicorn was now no more than a shell of her former self. Her physical injuries had been treated. Most notably, the jagged edges of her broken horn had been filed down. Lucy didn't really know much about unicorn anatomy, but she didn't know if such an injury was permanent or not. She supposed it might not, considering that the mare's mental state, or rather lack of. It was a condition in some ways not at all dissimilar to what Lucy had very recently recovered from, except seemingly worse. Whatever distant place Lucy's mind had gone off to, it had at very least been peaceful, free of pain and suffering, where she could just forget all the troubles of the world. Trouble, however, seemed to be the only fit word to describe whatever it was that remained in Lemonhearts. Lucy pressed a hoof to the glass in sympathy, as she watched the unicorn rock recklessly back and forth, muttering dull nonsense. It was a slight made only more unsettling by the mare's eyes, which, while more or less normal again, were bloodshot and unblinking. Worse still were the convulsions, violent tremors that would occasionally wreck some part of the former matron's body. It sent chills down Lucy's spine, despite all the lies and betrayal, and who knows how many other countless unnamed wrongs this pony might have committed. Lucy held nothing but pity for the howled remnant before her. She sighed as she lowered her hoof.
Their honor say the eldest deserved settlement.
Lucy's eyes went wide. That voice! It couldn't be! She turned, and there, before her unblinking violet eyes, stood the pony she feared she might never see again. Rushing forward, she locked the brown-coated stallion in a full-body embrace, holding tight to confirm that he was indeed real, having none that only mare so tight for fear he'd never disappear again. "Oh, Silverstar, it really is you!" She choked out as tears filled her eyes. Any doubts lingering in her mind, they were immediately dismissed as she felt him return the embrace, stroking his silver hoof for her graying mane and down her back. Finally confident that the pony before her was no delusion, the mare loosened her grip and stepped back to finally drink in the sight of him. Her smile faltered ever so slightly as one question rose to her mind. "How did you escape?" Silverstar paused, as if considering what to say.
Well, crazy as it must sound, I didn't. But I reckon you deserve to hear the whole story.
Silverstar sat alone in the windowless holding cell, his only regret being the uncertainty whether or not his sacrifice had ensured the safety of his comrades. Rory Stallion could, however, only take a small measure of confidence based on his captor's continued and rather insistent attempts to interrogate him in regards to the identity of his accomplices. Like they had a fair chance of getting Silver Star to talk. Not for lack of trying, mind. The guards had tried the full gamut, from threats of punishment to offers of leniency in exchange for cooperation. Silver Star had no fear of the former, and to trade for the latter would only betray the entire reason for letting himself get caught in the first place. Though, by far, the most hopeless point was the outright lie about having caught the others.
You ain't got no point here except myself,
He said without a moment's hesitance. His interrogator tried to be smug revelatory.
Oh, but we have, you filthy scumbag. And so this is your last chance to see your own worthless hide! Now come clean before one of them takes up the offer and sells you out first! What kind of fool are you taking me for?
Silver Star chuckled.
I was caught worried hoof at the scene of the crime. You ain't gonna need no more evidence than that to put me away for a good long while. So even if there were anybody else for the other cats, it'd be a cool damn soon before I'll give any help provided Needles with mine.
Silver Star could hardly fault him for trying, though. It was the guard's job. Actually, with that in mind, he did have one other regret. To help guarantee the other's safe escape, Silver Star had put up quite a fight before the guards finally managed to subdue him. He still ached from all over from the beating he had given him in return. But he really was a criminal here, and so he deserved every lump. Those guards he bucked along the way, however, didn't deserve the pain, compared to the burden of sin he already endured for his past errors. This newest misdeed hardly measured up, but it could scarcely lessen his shame. Part of him even wanted to apologize, but he doubted any of the guards would care about the sentiments already of a condemned man. As Silver Star brooded in his silent lamentations, he heard the peephole shutter on his cell door slide open. Though the shackles on his leg were quite secure, he admired the guard's diligence to ensure he wasn't setting up a trap before they entered. The shutter slid closed again, followed shortly by the sound of locks being unbolted, and the familiar face of his interrogator stepped inside.
Eyes up, scumbag!
Silver Star said attentively, but still had difficulty keeping the expression out of his voice.
So then, partner, what game will it be this time? Shut up, scumbag, before I make you shut up!
The officer sneered as he manfully raised an armor-shod hoof. Silver Star sat on footing, but if the guard actually meant to strike or not, he would never know. Instead, the guard pony was cut off by a cough in the doorway.
Right, get yourself lucky, scumbag. I'm only here to bring you a visitor this time. I already told you I was working alone, so there certainly ain't no opponent else that won't face it me. Honestly, I can't see why she won't visit you either,
Sneered the guard.
It's not my place to argue with a vice reign.
Silver Star probably would have been expecting this. After all, he had broken into her estate and held her pivot of her treasure vault. He supposed, as such, it might make some sense that the viceroy herself might want to have words with him. Perhaps with some misguided belief that her regal presence would cow him to submission, thus force a full confession. He chuckled silently to himself.
Don't most men aware, ponies who think they're well the right count for anything are all the same.
He not managed to catch sight of the viceroy in the party, having been preoccupied with other matters, but the pale-coated unicorn with her white and purple striped mane seemed far less posing than he had imagined. Sort of. The pony wore none of the decadent finery he might have expected, save a very simple necklace of pearls. Yet in spite, she did carry with her an obvious air of confident authority. One inescapable observation did puzzle him, though.
You seem more than a mite younger than I was expecting, Miss Prudence.
Before the middle-aged unicorn mare could respond, there was a clang from an armored hoof striking against the stone floor.
Such insolence!
Roared the crier as he raised himself again. Once more, Silver Star would never learn if the pony had the will to see through that threat. That'll be enough, Lieutenant. The voice of the viceroy was soft, but carried a commanding firmness that broke no repose. Please wait outside while I speak with the prisoner.
Viceroy, I must object to this. I can't leave you alone with this criminal scumbag.
Your concern is appreciated, but would seem unwarranted. Unless, of course, you have reason to doubt the craftsmanship of those manacles. Now, mind your station and do as you've been commanded, lest I find your previous outbursts in regards to showing proper respect disingenuous.
Bah!
The guard balked before acquiescing.
Of course, Viceroy, as you wish.
Without another word, the armored pony left the room, never taking his lingering gaze off of Silver Star until shutting the door behind him. Silence hung in the air for a few tense moments before Silver Star spoke.
Pardon getting offense, man, Prudence. Don't really figure I've been raised to learn the proper way to address a fast room before.
Yeah, as I thought.
Though, guess speaking your pardon for a few misspoken words isn't my hollow, considering the circumstances of the great wrongs I've done you tonight.
Now take it, Mr. Starr. I am hardly one to stand a needless formality. As for the circumstances of this evening, you seem to have mistaken me for somebody else.
Silver Star was confused. I thought the card said you was a fast room, though.
The mayor smiled amusedly. Have the educational standards in Calabara really fallen so low? Tell me, Mr. Starr, do you even know how many Vice Royal seats there are in Equestria?
Can't reckon I do. But please don't take that as any negligence of the schools. My parents might have been a Calabarian, but they were also frontier settlers. I've been pretty much raised my whole life out in the open plains in the Mountain West, where we had more practical things to learn. No offense to you, you're a Lord Slayer.
I thought I told you not to bother with any pretensions of formality. Whoever this bear was, any attempt at reading her was providing most vexing. Her demeanor seemingly both gentle and stern all at the same time. Now, before I introduce myself properly, allow me to briefly educate you. Here in Equestria there are exactly 3 viceroyal seats, one for a representative of each of the 3 tribes. Poisson's may be an insufferable old bat, but he's not yet convinced the princess to bless her as such, and so her wings remain the feathers of any other ordinary Pegasus pony. Silverstar mulled over that not so much it was difficult to follow the obvious train of logic, but more so because the casual attempt at this point seemed to show for a fellow noble. Well, he couldn't shake the feeling that there was something strangely familiar about this pony, even though he had never met her before.
So since you're a unicorn, I reckon that must make you one of the aren't you?
You learn quickly, Mr. Starr. I am Vice Stream Velvet Electico, though as I've already said, there is no need to stand on formality here, so you may simply address me as Velvet if you like.
Well, I thank you kindly for taking out time of your business skills to do Latin, buddy. Well, I reckon now I'm even more confused as to why a pony of your eminence will be better than with the likes of me.
To be blunt, Mr. Starr, under normal circumstances I wouldn't be bothered. What Poussin does with the criminals in her own territories is quite outside my jurisdiction. Nor will I really have reason to take particular interest in you specifically either. The pony who recruited you for this audacious endeavor, however, is of great personal concern to me. So that was it. Silverstar wondered briefly if this pony was even a Feistring at all. If not, she was a remarkable actor to carry herself so well in the role. Real or not, however, it hardly mattered.
Look, I already told the guards, even if I had any accomplices, I wouldn't rat them out. So you can take whatever offer you're trying to peddle off and shove off, or ma'am.
Don't play me a fool, Mr. Starr. Until just now, you didn't even know Poussin was a Pegasus. Do you honestly expect me to believe you will have conspired all on your own to break into her personal estate without even having learned that minor detail before attempting to rob her?
Guess maybe I'm just a bigger fool than y'all reckon.
So have I seen, Mr. Starr, but I'm not here to play games. I don't need you to confirm the identity of your employer. I already know her as well as any pony could. As Feistring paused at the implication, Silverstar kept his gaze level, careful not to show any hint of alarm. Inside, however, he was anything but calm. Twilight had told him all the details of her altercation with the princess as a princess. He supposed it might follow that he could also earn her ire of no small number of other nobles as well. Velvet's phrasing, however, filled him with a deeper concern that this noble had some specific grudge to bring Jade even that.
Concerned girl, what more trouble have you started before we even met?
Whatever device she took of his silence, she only pressed further. Tell me, Mr. Starr, did your employer ever tell you who she really was? What she did to get herself in trouble, or even where she was from? You don't have to tell me these things. Just as I said, I already have all those answers to myself. But just stop and think of this matter before you continue to play the fool. It was a trick. It had to be a trick. She was just watching to see if she hesitated to think on those questions. Yet Silverstar couldn't help himself. Now that he thought about it, Twilight had always been evasive about her past before the Ursa incident, at least when never asked directly. She never before struck him as a career criminal, though, just a naive girl who made one big mistake. He never thought to press the matter. Not being much of a liar, however, she did occasionally let casual bits and pieces slip through. For instance, he knew her brother had some position in the Royal Guard. Likely, she even briefly mentioned growing up in
Latago. You said you were a vast reader of Latago.
Yes, Mr. Starr. Has that detail suddenly gained meaning for you? He blinked as he looked at the mirror in front of him again, taking in every detail. Tarnation, had he been blind this whole time? The colors were different. She was older. More specifically, she looked exactly old enough to be
You're her mother.
Suddenly, the mayor's entire posture relaxed, no longer apparently commanding, but now only mortally wary. Yes, I am her mother. A mother that desperately wants her little girl back.
I don't reckon I understand. Why not just tell me so in the first place?
She sat in front of him, abandoning the last vestiges of authority that she had been planning on before. Because, Mr. Starr, I had to be certain. I had to see the recognition on your face. There are those in the night court that might try to use my daughter's situation against me. I had to know it was really her that you had met, not some imposter. As Velvet spoke, she could have looked at him with pleading eyes. Damn those eyes. The color was blue instead of violet, but they were just like her daughter's where it counted. And just the same, he found himself helpless against them. Silver Star could already see how this conversation would end, and yet he was so very tired of it all. He resigned himself to a fate, and so was loath to change it.
Well then, now you have your answer. So I guess I ain't got no more use for the lax of mine.
Perhaps, but let me ask you another question, Mr. Starr. Do you know how many ponies my daughter has ever called her friends?
Twilight never spoke much about her past, so I reckon she didn't want any of y'all involved. I guess she did speak at some point. She called her BBBFF. Till my equestrian ain't good enough to know what that might stand for.
That would be my son, her big brother, best friend forever, as he was apt to call him. There might be a few more acquaintances here and there, but for her entire life she had only been the one she had ever truly confided in. I think that might have finally begun to change, however, and I think that puts you in a unique position.
Have I really been any kind of afraid I'd talk her out this here fool's errand, so straddle up with her?
Perhaps, or perhaps you knew better. My daughter can be very stubborn when she sets herself to a task. If after all these years not even my husband and myself can dissuade her, there'd be little chance you could have done any differently. And that, Mr. Starr, is the other reason I came to speak with you. You safeguarded my daughter in her time of most desperate need, and I would like to return the favor. At that, Silver Star frowned.
How you reckon I'll do that? Let me guess, you're gonna cut some seed backroom deal, pull a few strings, and make the law bind to your limbs.
Sally shook his weary head aside.
Well, here I was just for a moment feeling sorry for you. We ain't no different than any other politician I ever met.
The mayor sighed well. Tell me, Mr. Starr, what crime do you think you're guilty of?
You mean tonight, or shall I tell you my last story?
Breaking and entering. Which is not to say Poussat's could easily trump it up with further accusations of conspiracy. Perhaps even goes so far as to turn this whole affair into an international incident by attempting to claim you're an insurgent working for the Calibrated government.
Silver Star stared wide. You don't mean to say she's going as far as to start a war with this?
No. She might seek tight rumination, perhaps, but no. Poussat's isn't the type of pony to find any profit in war. Let's just all be glad it wasn't Archduke Fizzer's estate you broke into. At that, Velvet chuckled, but our Silver Star only tilted his head in confusion, the name being unfamiliar to him. Never mind. My point is that, at its most basic level, you only committed a singular crime against a singular individual. As such, I don't have to bend the law to my whims. All I have to do is convince that one point not to press any charges against you.
Really? I suppose you got some dirt you intend to use to blackmail her with that to make that happen? Or maybe disface yourself by tracing political favor? No thanks.
Not exactly, Mr. Starr. As I should hope my daughter already explained to you, Poussat is a collector of rare and priceless artifacts. It just so happens that there are several items in my own family's holdings that she infamously desired for quite some time.
Alright, then. You might give her some fancy knickknacks so she looks the other way for Chris about me.
It might be a bribe if I simply gave her such artifacts. Which is why, instead, I sold them to her.
Sold? Beg my pardon, but if you're being paid for your trouble, why would Poussat want any of your further favor let me off the hook?
Consider it a coincidental act of benevolence. Seeing how distraught my vilified serene is at the invasion of her home, I agree to sell her an item or two, so long as she to replace anything she lost, while also informing her that I intend to use the money to fund a public works project back in Latago, projects to which I will adequately credit her name as well.
Sounds like a might praying dirt pulled to my ears. Not that I reckon I ought to understand how she should owe any anything of all that.
Perhaps you wouldn't. That is, if it weren't for you being a key witness in an ongoing investigation.
Silver Star frowned again. And that's what all this comes back to, ain't it? You want me to talk. tell you where Twilight is so you can catch her yourself. Tell me, what more strings are you going to pull to sweep this whole mess under the rug? Or are you planning to sell her out to slave face? Either way, that ain't nothing I want any part of.
Mr. Star, do you really think so little of me? Declared the Vice Fiend as he slipped back into a wrinkled demeanor. My daughter used highly illegal magic to lure a wild monster into the center of a populated settlement, causing not only sizable property damage, but endangering every pony's lives as well. These are not lives that can simply be, as you put it, swept under the rug. Whereas if I only cared to preserve my own reputation, I would have already long since disowned my daughter and washed my hopes in the matter. Glacier Fan's velvet sighs again and realized her posture. No, Mr. Star, I am only a mother and wife, desperate to do anything she can to save her family. Not only do I miss my little Sparkle dearly, but ever since he became a fugitive, my husband has all but sequestered himself in his offices at Canterlot Castle. I do not want to consider such a thing, but I fear to what extremes he might go to if this situation is not resolved. He's much like our daughter in that respect.
I reckon she takes a mind after you as well,
Muttered Stallion under his breath. What was about these two mayors who could be, with those cursed bleeding eyes, always pulled him out of his overside weariness? Just as it had been with Twilight before, Silverstar found his flanks itching again, filling with one-eyed eagerness to do everything he could to help take away this mayor's pain. What was that?
I'll say I'll do it. It must be so strong to agree to anything less, but I'll do it the same.
Excellent. All that remains to discuss the matter of your payment. Payment? Lucy interrupted with a puzzled expression. After everything else she just did to get you out of trouble, she's actually paying you?
Yeah, it confused me too, but she insisted. So it wouldn't be proper to contact my servers otherwise.
Oh. Lucy turned her eyes in disappointment. So, does that mean you'll be leaving again soon? Silverstar let out a sigh.
I gave my word, and so I won't rest till that girl's safe at home with her family.
Silence hung in the air between them for long moments as Lucy visited nervously, struggling to find the words to express her feelings. As her mouth finally began to form coherent sound, though, she took a huff and gently placed it over it.
Shh.
Silverstar soothed here.
This is something I have to do. It's not a thing you can help me with either, so don't even think of asking. My heart couldn't bear having to tell you no.
Lucy took his huff into her own as she lowered it from her mouth to speak. I know that. But doesn't it feel right to just let you go all alone?
I've been alone most of my life, and that ain't about to change now. Besides, how could I rightly take you away from that boy of yours? He needs you more than I ever could.
He was fine for months without me to look after him. They grow up so fast, Silver, and while it takes me proud to see what he's becoming, I just feel so useless. She turned her head, as though doing so might hide from what she would say next. What kind of mother am I anyway? When Lemonheart turned into that monster, and then when Woody went out to fight her, I couldn't do anything but hide like a scared filly back in the hotel. Something had happened. I already lost his father because I was too much of a coward. How could I even forgive myself if I lost my son too? As he began to sob openly, Silverstar pulled her back to his side, pressing her tightly to his barrel as he whispered in her ear.
Does he ever say those things? Everything that boy is because he had such a wonderful, caring mother. His bravery is your bravery. He might not need you to scrub behind his ears and change his diapers no more, but he still loves you more and supports him as ever.
She whispered back. Do you really think all that is true, Silver? Silverstar smiled.
I couldn't speak if it weren't so.
Breaking brace, Lucy declared. Then it's settled!
Big Barn, I don't really follow.
The children are orphans. With 11 hearts in this condition, they've got no pony left to look after them. And, well, I owe it to her. She may have been an awful pony. None of us really knew her, probably never will. But she's also the only reason I'm awake again. All those children that depended on her, that home she built for them, it's a legacy worth preserving, don't you think?
It's an awful big responsibility. You sure you can handle it all?
Maybe not, or at least not forever. I'm just a carpenter, so I don't know the first thing about what it takes to look after so many children. But my talent has always been making things fit together. The way I figure it, the least I can do is help with each of those children find a loving home.
I think that's a
great idea. Here are 2 points. We turn to see Woody. Silverstar coughed.
How long have you been standing there, boy?
Long enough, Sheriff. He beamed with a knowing grin. Stallion and Mare each blessed and purposely put a bit of distance between each other. Lucy motioning to the empty space created for her son to come sit with them. Woody only smiled. Nah, I think I should give you two some privacy. But here, he sit down and drinking had been balancing on one wing in front of his mother, a second drink from his other wing, likely originally intended for himself in front of Silver Star. As he turned to leave, he said, I'll just head back to the hotel and start packing our bags. With the younger pony gone, Silver Star blinked once and turned to Lucy.
Well, this is the fact that he's the kid, but I'm the one who feels like a fool who's been caught with his own parents in the bushes by my first sweetheart.
Why, Sheriff? That sounds a lot like flirting. Kiss each other, you two nitwits! Silver Star's eyes went wide as his lips scrunched inward. He reached up and pulled the brim of his hat down to hide his embarrassment. Realizing just how silly this must have looked, he pulled just a bit more, letting that hat fall to the floor as he stopped to hoof.
Come on, Summer Roll. What sense is there denying it any longer when even a child can see the writing on the walls plain as day?
Then, you and me? Lucy says he looked longingly, full of hope.
I don't know, Lucy. This just never seemed like it was the right time. First you was married, then you was a first widow. Considering you didn't really have a proper chance to mourn yet, with your condition and all. I just don't want to feel like I'm taking advantage of you all.
And what the hell I feel? The mayor suddenly outburst first Silver Star to raise his eyes away from the floor. Her tear-filled gaze quickly made him regret doing so. He couldn't turn away again. Shouldn't that matter? That was his only reply Silver Star could muster. She was right, and he knew it. But still, I don't suppose it doesn't matter now, though. See, Lucy could say with a sigh. You got a mission to go off on, and I won't keep you from it. But I want you to promise me something first. Once you find Miss Sparkle, once she's safe at home with her family, you come back to me, and we'll figure out the rest then. Silver Star picked his hat off the floor, placed it on his head, brim low to hide his gaze.
I'll reckon that'll do, Lane.
No, it won't just do! She insisted with unusual determination. I need you to promise me. You never break your promises, and I won't let you leave until you tell me those exact words!
Ah.
Silver Star gulped as he lifted his face to meet her gaze.
I promise. I promise that no matter what happens, I'll come back to you. I'll always come back. You have my...
His words were cut off as Lucy locked her lips with his and pulled him into a embrace. Yes! Any semblance of propriety melted away as Silver Star returned her passive kiss in equal measure. They stayed like that for what felt both like an eternity, and yet all too fleeting an instant at the same time. That moment finally passed, however, and the two ponies separated.
And if you look to your left, you can see how not to give mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Now we're walking.
Her cheeks flushed, my eyes penetrating. Lucy was the first to speak. Don't you forget it, mister. Silver Star, just as flushed, answered,
No, ma'am. I reckon I won't be able to ever forget it. Yeah!
I was Snowflake on this one. Snowflake beamed with pride as he celebrated along his side his fellow Pegasi. The Philadelphia Waterspout team had been successful. Not only that, but the special guest judge, Soren of the Wonderbolts, had further announced that they had also record-breaking 910 willpower. Amazing feeling. Now he'd been part of such a momentous event. Now that he had broke break one record, though, Snowflake was only more eager to do it again. For now, he was content to party with his teammates, take a few days off to relax, but then would be right back to training as usual in preparation for next year's water racing. Whatever than that might be hosted. Like he sat in her pipe weighing circumstances. That she even still had a roof over her head was a miracle. Nothing else, Lemon Hearts at least paid her rent through the end of the month. Unfortunately, that did little more than to stave out the inevitable. Miss Lucky had no way to afford the following month's rent. She had to quit her job prior to leaving on her ill-fated adventure, placing all her future prospects on the talent scouts Lemon Hearts had promised to introduce her to. After a week of training, though, Clover herself didn't know how to contact those scouts, or even they'd be willing to promote her. Had they ever actually liked her at, or had they all been another one of Lemon Heart's exceptions? What options did that leave her with? Crawling back to her old job? Not likely after the parting words she had given her old boss. Crappy job anyway, though. Good riddance. So then what? Always get another job. But really, with her lackluster skills and all her other options were pretty much equally crappy. No. The more she thought of it, the more she came to the same conclusion. There was nothing left for her in this town. It was a scary thought, however. She had lived her whole life in Manhattan. Never once had she dreamt of leaving. Even in her wildest fantasies of getting her career as a comedian off the ground, she never really considered performing anywhere except the local clubs. Now, however, she couldn't really figure out what had kept her here all these years. Familiarity, she supposed. It's all she ever known, but then it changed. Ever since Twilight Sparkle, her Tembra, had graced her doorstep, Lucky's world had opened up to new prospects and possibilities. Sure, they missed a field, and Lucky wasn't sure she even made the friends she made again. None of that mattered, though, because regardless of how things turned out, she was far more of a changed mayor for the experience of it all. For the first time, she looked at her crappy apartment and realized just how crappy it was. Well, actually, she always known how crappy it was. But before Lucky had always been resigned to it, assuming she'd never be able to do better. But no more. Now she found herself in a restless wanderlust, her eyes opened to just how much of a world there was to explore. She wanted to see it all. Well, okay, maybe all of it was too big of a dream. Her finances were still as meager as ever, but maybe, even if she couldn't travel the whole world, she could at least get out of this town. Manhattan may be a city of boundless opportunity for Mamie, but for Clever it became a dead end, an open grave where she done nothing but more than slowly waste away one year after another. Her decision made, Clever retrieved what little savings she had from beneath her mattress, gathered together what few possessions she actually had any fondness for, left her old life behind without a single regret. Well, maybe one regret. She couldn't help but feel like her exit wasn't nearly as dramatic as momentous a case it deserved. Ever so briefly she considered setting fire to the place. Isn't that what ponies always did in stories when leaving their old life behind? That was probably overly dramatic for her in real life. However, not to mention inconsiderate of all the other tenants in an apartment complex. Oh well, her life in that apartment had never been eventful, so why should her departure be any different?
Where to?
Inquired the Tinker Tailor at the station. Clever never really considered that. She knew she wanted to go somewhere, anywhere really, but she never had any place in particular in mind. Racking her brain to think of any place worth traveling to, she kept coming up blank, so finally decided it didn't matter. Well, next time to plotting, and this is gnawing. A new town, new sights and new faces, but never any sales satisfaction. Work whatever jobs were available, save enough money, buy another train ticket. Maybe she finally find what she was looking for next time. If not, maybe the next after that. The journey had been long. Lucky was glad for another opportunity to stretch her legs. As they train, she looked up and read the sign over the station. Welcome to Ponyville. The end. Cue the end credits and cue this guy doing the review. Another day, another great episode. I'm starting to think probably there's only one that was so far low on my list for episodes I really enjoyed. But this had been fantastic. If I had any real complaints about it, it's that, well, we didn't get to see Trixie. However, I think that was kind of necessary. So that way I can bring up that point. But right now, I can't really think of any major complaints I've got. Because, well, like any good story, any major complaints were slowly built up. I really love how the author handled the incident. Misfits? Rookies? Reserves? Twits? I need a good nickname. The Level Losers. I think I'll go with that. Thanks, Trixie. You're welcome. Really loved how they used them. Mainly because it's what I think they represent. See, Twilight was doing what I see I see some reviewers actually do, what I see some people who complain about the show do. You know the ones, right?
Tranny's not generous! Applejack lied that one episode. She's not honest.
Fluttershy did that one thing that one episode, so she's not truly kind. Rainbow Dash left her friends in that one episode, so she's not really loyal. And so on and so forth. They're only taking the elements at their basic and letting the elements define their characters. This is what Twilight's doing. She's looking at these guys and going, oh, Silverstar is intensely honest, so must be honesty. Well, yeah, but he's also got physical loyalty too, and there's more to his story. And then there's, Snowflake over here, and Clover, and... Yeah, but there's more to them than that. And of course, Lemon Hearts! It's just insane! Yeah, but there's more to it than that. One of the things that I love about the show is that the characters are fully fleshed out and three-dimensional, and that they don't allow their elements to define themselves. That there is more to them than just being loyal and that. They aren't perfected elements. They make mistakes. They don't always fully realize their element. But if they did, then they wouldn't be human. They would be, well, mindless automatons, and they would be, Care Bears. They wouldn't have anything more to their personalities. But that's kind of the point. That's what makes them fleshed out characters, not caricatures. Sadly, Twilight's going for more of the caricatures route, and just seeing these guys at their basis. She's not thinking. She's not getting a chance to know them. One of the things that is great about the show is that we do get a chance to know these characters, so we do get to know more about them and see them beyond for what their elements are. If Twilight had spent time knowing them and actually becoming real friends, she could see that there was more to them. And to be fair, there really is more to them than just their basics. It's just that they don't represent the elements really well, and these guys are what I would like to call the losers. Thank you, Trixie. That's just their personalities. They do exemplify some characteristics that actually make me really enjoy who they are. I'll tell you which one is my favorite in a bit. If anything, the only character that didn't have that much devotion to him was Snowflake. Everybody else has some really good character moments. We get to see all of the sins of Lucy Screws as she pushes herself through. We get to see Silverstar being, well, a badass, but also show what his own mistakes are and how he works towards getting through them. And of course, Lemon Hearts is just insane. But I love her for it! It's a shame that with her life ending like this, this is the, well, not life, but considering where she ended up, this is the only time we're ever going to see her. But I really did enjoy seeing her. The idea that there are several different ponies out there with a spark of discord in them is kind of interesting to think about. Kind of makes it seem like, yeah, chaos is always going to be there, and that something like chaos can't easily be put into a statue and locked away. There's always going to be evil lying out there. And in a way, it almost makes me think of mutants, the way it's said that each one of them has a spark that is there but hasn't grown yet. Kind of like some sort of sleeper agents. I'm sorry, this one plot point really got me thinking. It's a really interesting plot point, and I really like the way it was handled. I also like Lemon Hearts, how not only was he insane and ruthless and kind of very close to a female discord, but, and as he had a bit of her own backstory to go through, but I also like how she was the opposite of generosity. I made a comment about how, where does she get off, and that was mainly me wanting to insult her because, well, she's a villainess. I'm practiced it. I've graduated the Kirk School of giving out excellent hero speeches at the right moment. What? I have a diploma and everything. Where did I put it? See? Kirk diploma. In my old textbook. But yeah. Lemon Hearts is the opposite. Not only was she hungrily greedy, but she also saw generosity as weak. She didn't get what real generosity is. It's all about sacrifice, opening your heart to others, and giving yourself out. It's about letting others in and giving more of yourself than you realize you need. It's about letting others see the beauty that is in you and allowing yourself to give more. Which, of course, leads to my favorite of the character level losers, Clover. Dear sweet Clover. She is hilarious, sweet, fun, and I gotta admit, I was really happy to see her becoming friends with Snowflake. I was feeling for her once she suddenly realized that when she found out she wasn't going on any more adventures. I really genuinely wanted to give her a hug. I was enjoying her company because she worked as a character. She was so lovable, so likable, hilarious, and friendly. But I think the Fix's greatest job was handling of Carrot Top. When I first started the show about 2 years ago, and when I first entered this universe, for the longest time, I felt like the character that lacked the most character of all of them had been Charlie. Because if you look at her episode list, a zilch. She's got, what, 2 big episodes if you count Hero Voting. And then maybe a guest starring role in A Hard Bargain. Beyond that, Charlie is absent. I blame now on the fact that that out of any of the other multiverse characters, her task really takes up a lot of her time. Her job really pushes her to a limit. But yeah, I thought Charlie would be the one the least developed. But as time has rolled on, and I've read 23 episodes for all of you guys, I find it's Carrot Top who lacks anything. I mean, so far, much like how some people will say, oh, Applejack doesn't have any character because all of her roles revolve around her farm use, and all that. I feel like that's the type of trap Carrot Top fell into. That all of her roles just fell into her farm and her relationship with Applejack. We never got to see more of her inside her head. And personally, I feel like this story helps redeem that. In that we get to see what's going on in Carrot Top's head. We get to see who she is and what she likes. We see more of how she is, and now we're seeing more of where her character comes from. We see that, yes, she is prone to jealousy. Yes, she feels like she doesn't matter, and she doesn't match up to a lot of other people, especially with their big, wider dreams. She feels small, and yet wants to prove herself. She certainly doesn't like being a doormat, but she can't help but help people as much as she can. She likes being there for others, and she likes being kind. She likes giving out assistance. And she is a full-on herbologist. She could probably be even Sakura when it comes to figuring out all the medicines and all the medical facilities and all that. Basically, it helped take what was there and further establish Carrot Top as a character. It helped us give more into why Carrot Top belongs with this team, and what she brings to the group, what she brings to their additions to things like Trixie. Because, you see, that's what's also important about the main six. You need to also think of what they mean to each other. This is probably the universe that has the most episodes of any of the ones I've done. And I think it's important to realize that when it comes to this, that we need to know what these characters mean to each other. And I think it's starting to develop with Carrot Top. Once again, another great episode. And what's next for the Lunaverse? Well, we're going back in the episode count to do one that wasn't done yet when I was first going through this, but it's done now. So, next time on the Lunaverse, take it, Trixie! Here we are! Kyle El Bio! The sea, Trixie. The surf, Trixie. The wonderful alcohol, Trixie. What is it, Lyra? Can you see I'm trying to tell our wonderful audience exactly where we're going today? Just think about it. You, me, and Ditsy all together in this wonderful vacation spot. No monsters, no trouble, no big explosions. Trixie, that's what I'm trying to tell you. What? It's Ditsy. What about her? She's gone. She's gone. Ditsie's gone. Ditsie is gone. Ditsie is gone. Ditsie has disappeared. Ditsie has disappeared. Um, so, next time on the Lunaverse, Secret of Atlantis. See you there. Maybe we'll have Ditsie here too. Maybe. It's going to be simply aquatic.